Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try to run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Welcome to the Afridamus Report, ladies and gentlemen. Like I promised to come back earlier. So we're here. EC say welcome to the Afridamus Report and all the people that are coming in later. But today's topic, you know, I think this is really a good one because, as you know, people have been talking about, oh, Pan-African is this, Pan-African is that. But the loudest voice in the house is usually the Black Americans. Because, you know, even us as Africans, we've been hearing them tell us, hey, we are the reasons you guys are free. We've helped fight you guys for your liberation. But today, I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to give the account of who really freed Africans. Is it outside world or African people freed themselves? So if you look at in the thumbnail that I put up there, you would see some African liberators. You see Amilcar Cabral from Guinea-Bissau. You know, because I'm giving different perspectives so people understand what it took for African nations to be what they are today. And you know, like I said earlier, this is Freestyle Sunday. The link will be dropped and people would have the opportunity, they will have the chance to call in and, you know, you can talk about what you think I'm saying here. Oh, if you have previous issues, anything, you know, as long as you be respectful, not be, you know, disruptive. You maintain yourself no matter what, so we can have sensible discussions. But as you know, people always say, especially Black people, they make videos about this. I would see them arguing with African people, but sometimes I don't get into this because the people that they're talking to don't even know their own history. They don't understand the history of America or the history of various African countries. Because you see, the people that come and say, oh, we helped free African countries, Black Americans. Do you understand by simply saying that and standing on that ground, it debunks your whole victimhood narrative that you tell people? It debunks your entire Jim Crow narrative, your entire white supremacists got their foot on my neck narrative, because you have to look at the timeline. You have to look at, you know, for instance, I heard someone say, oh, we helped Kwame Nkrumah. Really? Kwame Nkrumah got into fighting for Ghana's liberation in the 50s. And Ghana got their independence, I believe, like 1957. At the time, I mean, Jim Crow law, according to the history I read, was at its height. And they were fighting to be free from that. So if you're oppressed, if you have the white man's foot on your neck, how would you be able to think about other groups of people that you have no clue about? You don't even know if they exist or not. How can you get to them? Today, that's what I want to hear from the people. So people can tell me, hey, Afridamus, we in fact, you Africans were colonized by the white supremacists, the racist white people. You guys couldn't free yourself. The white man was kicking your drawers in. So we had to come and save you weak Africans, because you Africans don't know anything about Pan-Africanism. By the way, the strongest Pan-Africanists, these are the real Pan-Africanists, these men that I'm going to be talking about here, the men that I'm going to be featuring. That's what the real Pan-Africanist is about. Because these people were not marching. They were not begging to say, please free us. No, as you can see, Amilcar Cabral with his AK-47, this is real. He didn't beg the Portuguese. He didn't beg for liberation. He didn't beg for them to leave their country. He picked up arms. He took his troops. He went against the Portuguese. I didn't see no Pan-Africanists from the West coming there to fight that war with them. Same thing happened in Angola. I can name a few. Zimbabwe, even Robert Mugabe that you hear about. How do you think he came to power? They had to go against the white British government. He took up arms against them and toppled the government of Ian Smith, backed by the strongest army at the time, the British government. So in some places, sure, like someone is saying here, yes, there was some help. Like in Angola, they had Cuban troops that went there to help fight there. But overall, it is Africans themselves that liberated their countries. Plain and simple. Yeah. Well, Jay Clavin, you're going to have the chance to come on the show and tell us that you freed us. And, if you did, that would be great, because I hope white people would be listening, then they would no longer feel guilty when you talk about, oh, we were being stopped, So that means you were not oppressed, because an oppressed person cannot free another oppressed groups of people. So this is why it's funny to me when they say, some of you, I hear you say, oh, we're going to take our military and go to Africa. Really? Are you sure you want to get into, a war? I'm talking real warfare with quote unquote Africans on their soil. You do realize you're going against professional armies. You do not stand a chance at all. You don't stand a chance. So this is why Africans that have sense, we just laugh about it. And I'm not saying these things to ridicule you, put you down whatsoever. I just want to bring you to reality. To reality. Let me see what others. Civil rights activists played their part, but there was no African American army, to my knowledge. There was no quote unquote civil rights activists. Okay? There was none. They themselves were suffering here. How can they free? They don't even know about Africa. Trust me, I read about all this. They don't know anything about Africa. There were few Black Panthers in the 70s who started going to Africa. And I think in the 60s, there were a couple. But what role can they play? Kwame Nkrumah, before Kwame Nkrumah was going against the British. Yes, he did go to school here in New York, but he had absolutely nothing to do with no black movements, none of that. He was just a regular international student. And by the way, that was in the 40s. So before people come back and be like, oh, he was chilling with the blacks. Never that. I read his book, and this was in the 1940s. I heard someone say, oh, Kwame Nkrumah was chilling with Malcolm X. I was like, really? When Kwame Nkrumah was in the United States as a student, Malcolm X was in Malcolm X at the time. Malcolm X was Malcolm Little. He was in the criminal life. So there was no way he would have anything to do with Kwame Nkrumah, a student, a university student. But fast forward, even Kwame Nkrumah himself, you know, him being the proponent, one of the pioneers of the Pan-African movement, him and Haile Selassie, and many other, Gamal Abdel Nasser, he was really tight with him, the leader of Egypt. I know most people, when they think, oh, Pan-Africans, they don't think about the Arab countries that are in North Africa. Yes, those countries are part of it too. Because all those countries were in the same condition as sub-Saharan African countries, because they were all colonized by the same groups of people, French, English, or Portuguese. Long story short, European nations. So we had that in common. So Gamal Abdel Nasser was one of the pioneers as well, one of the fathers of Pan-Africanism. This Pan-Africanism that people talk about today, that people try to lecture to Africans about. Africans are the real, true Pan-Africanists, because other Africans, especially with South Africa, have contributed immensely to help South Africa to end apartheid in South Africa. African nations were the ones doing that. But now we fast forward to where we are today with the narrative. If people that believe what I'm saying isn't real, oh, they have their perspective. I'm going to drop the line here in a second, but think about this for a minute. Marcus Garvey never stepped foot in Africa. His movement was here in the United States. He eventually got sent to prison, charged with postal fraud, along those lines. So whether those charges are right or not, that's what he was charged with at the time, and eventually got shipped to back to Jamaica. This guy saying, you really believe the Ghanaian army can take on Crips? I'm not even gonna answer that. That's a silly question. I would like to see the Crips take on the Los Angeles police first. I would like to see them do that, and then from there, we can discuss the rest of that. But even Kwame Nkrumah himself, a lot of the people that say they're Pan-Africanists, you read about it, you would find out these people themselves, their ideology, honestly, they are socialists, because Kwame Nkrumah, even when he came to power, he turned Ghana into a one-party state. He talked good game. He wanted to be the leader of Africa. So obviously, if you want to pioneer something and be the leader, you're going to say all these things. He likes people like, Karl Marx, Lenin. So the guy he's a communist pretty much. So if you look at it, he even tried to create an institution called Nkrumahism, spent millions of dollars to try to build an institution where people study his ideas. I mean, the man was very conceited. Gamal Abdel Nasser did the same thing in Egypt. They call it Nasserism. But all those ideas failed. With the one party state idea, when Kwame Nkrumah brought that to Ghana, they quickly kicked him out, like that fast. They're like, look, man, we were with you about, kicking this colonialists out of here, but now you want to colonize us with your own ideas. So he had to get kicked out. Okay, so the people today that are saying they are Pan-Africanists, they have to tell Africans about Pan-Africanism. They are not qualified because they are not real Pan-Africanists. They don't even understand what real Pan-Africanism is about. They don't even understand what it's about because they have their own idea of what it should be like. Oh, how can you go to the black factory and explain to them, oh, we're telling you our version of Pan-Africanism, but not even realizing what you're trying to tell the people, the ideas you're coming up with. People are listening to you. Well, like, you do realize this is the same reason why we had to fight against the white people, right? Because the white people came with their own ideas and tried to impose it on Africans. And African people were not having it. So if you say, oh, I'm a Pan-Africanist, you come up with your idea. I can give you a great example, like I just said, Kwame Nkrumah, that all Pan-Africanists hail at a higher standard. Go read about him. Find out why he got chased out of Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah didn't die in Ghana. Did you guys know this? He didn't finish his term. The people had to get rid of him because he came up with one party state. He wants to be the leader. He wants to be the leader. Just him, his political party. So, because I'm not surprised, because when you read about what he's into this socialist idea. So Ghana was a socialist country when he was there, but it didn't last long because it's not gonna work. Because that means you're saying you're the only leader, you're the one that is good enough to rule over the people. So he had to go. So now, present day Pan-Africanists are coming up with that idea too. So if you go to most of these African countries and you're talking about, oh, we liberated you people, they're gonna laugh at you. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, yeah, just you're sitting in front of the television and watching ABC News and getting upset. That doesn't mean that you liberated those people. Or sitting on the internet, that doesn't mean you liberate those people. That's not how it works. You have to be physically present and go against the people that are trying to control you. And that's what Africans did. But before I open the lines, you guys know it's normal here, tradition, especially it's a Sunday. We have to play the Pan-Africanist church choir music and feature all the people we're going to be that are relevant to this topic. I want you to watch closely and see that all the people you're going to see in these pictures, these are the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism in Africa. These are the people that fought for the liberation of their various countries. There is no such thing as the country called Africa. It's a continent with several, different countries in it. I know I've heard people say, oh, we freed Africa. Which country are you talking about? Because some countries were able to be free at one time. They inspired the other ones, and people followed in their footsteps. In West Africa, Ghana opened the door. Kwame Nkrumah, he knocked hard. He went against the British. Once he laid them out, that inspired the rest of West Africa. But the Portuguese, they were not gonna just lay down or leave. And Amilcar Cabral, he's like, hey, if you don't leave, we can do this in the battlefield. And that's exactly what he did. In Zimbabwe, at the time it was called Rhodesia, the colonialists were not going to leave because they call it their home. Robert Mugabe and some in his comrades, the lingo they use, I mean, they were communists, pretty much communist guerrillas. But either way, they pick up arms and went to work. This happened in different African countries. Angola, even South Africa, you have Nelson Mandela, Steve Biko, and others. In Congo, you have Patrice Lumumba. He didn't pick up the arms, but when they were invited to Brussels, when they were fighting for their independence, they knew he was a man who didn't hold back. They knew he spoke his mind. When he wasn't supposed to speak, they invited them, the delegation. He wasn't supposed to talk. But all these other people were being weak. He got up and spoke in front of their king and told the king, we're tired of you enslaving our people, exploiting our resources. He just laid out all the crimes that the Belgian king and the Belgian government was committing against Congo and its people. And the king got really upset. At the time he was prime minister, that's when they plotted and killed them. They killed them in Kitanga because that's the other side. They split the Congo at the time into two different countries. So this war that you're seeing, this has been ongoing for a while. Mobutu Sese Seko helped. He played a role. They conspired and they killed them. They killed them. You go to places like Burkina Faso. You have Burkina Faso. They used to call it Opa Volta. You have Thomas Sankara there. But even though when he came they had independence already, but these are enlightened Africans. They didn't need anybody from the outside. This is why they were kicking out the outsiders. They didn't need any outsider to tell Africans how to think. Even Gambia, a small tiny country, they didn't need outsiders to come and save them. They kicked the British out themselves. I can name different places where this was just, it was like a tsunami running through Africa. You talk about Kenya. You have Jomo Kenyatta, he's the father of independence in Kenya, where they came, the Mau Mau, got activated when the Europeans, the English, didn't want to leave, even though the British government said, look, you need to leave and let the Kenyans run their own country. But these other British that were there, they said, no, this is our home. We're not going to leave. You can look this up. back in the days, there were lots of white people that lived in Kenya. They called it home. They had all the fertile lands and stuff. So the Mau Mau, a lot of these people, they started a campaign where at night they would go and put their enemies, the colonialists, they would put them to eternal sleep, if you know what I mean. They didn't need anyone from outside to come help them to do that. They knew exactly what to do, and that's what they did. Nigeria, I can just keep going on and on and on. It's too many to name. But before I start, let's bring the choir and hear some of the good music, the church music. And don't forget, this is my birthday month. The Cash App is here. PayPal, some of you people that was asking for it. And I hope Brian comes back. But, since we know he's a busy man, maybe he won't be too busy to follow up with what he said. Here we go. As you can see at the end there, just like it said, that's how the African mindset is. Only a slave asks the master what is legal. A free man doesn't ask if it's legal or not, because you created your own rule. So I'll free myself. A man that waits for other people to free them, quote unquote, that's not freedom. If you notice, this is why no one can come back and take that freedom from Africans, because Africans freed themselves. Because if you're given something, they can always take it from you. But when you demand it, like the Mau Mau example, they put their colonialists, slowly, one by one, to eternal sleep. No one told them to pack their stuffs and leave. When the Portuguese didn't want to leave Guinea-Bissau, as you guys saw, Amilcar Cabral, in fact, this is what he said. I'll give you a quote that I like that he said. He said, culture is simultaneously the fruit of a people's history and determinant of history. So your perception of yourself, your purpose in the world, how you feel about yourself is what counts. If you don't have real perception of yourself, somebody else would give you their perception. So colonialists can come in different colors. And we know in the West, for instance, people generally, most of the time, they think very, very highly of themselves. They think they are super duper important. They think they are special. This is why when you come in contact with Western, especially America, some people say the quiet part, but as you guys can see, the black people, they have no problem laying it out. Oh, you all Africans don't know what you're talking about. We're like, okay, do tell me about my own history. Tell me about how you came and freed us. So for those who want to tell me about it, I'm open to having the discussion with you, because I realize even the great doctor, the prince of Pan-Africanism, is now telling you, Black Americans, to give up your citizenship and go to Africa. My advice to you, don't do it. It's a setup. America is a great place. Okay? It's good to play fantasy footsie, but do not go that far. Do not go that far. At least give yourself a fighting chance when Africans decide to become Mau Maus again. The lines are open now. Hit the link. Come on in and have conversation with Afridamus about what you think here. So it is open. If you know something that you believe I'm leaving out, you want to tell me about all the wonderful gang members from California, I'm open to listening to that as well. But I think this is a bit more advanced than, gang thinking, because I can assure you, even our little ragtag rebels, I don't think the gangs stand a chance against those people. Because let me tell you, this is not a joke. This is not one of those games where you're driving, pulling drive-bys. No, you're coming face to face with men in the jungle. How are you going to navigate that? Or meeting outside of the towns, empty towns. There's nowhere to run to. There's nowhere to run to. This is real warfare. You're going to come face to face with people like many Amilcar Cabrals. You won't be singing the blues. You won't be leaning in your car, pulling drive-by, barely knowing how to shoot. It's not that type of party. I'm talking real guerrilla warfare. Professional armies, organized, bombs flying. That's the type of party I'm talking about here. So for those who have been living the fantasy, talking about, oh, we just gonna go there and do this and that, not going to happen. In fact, I'm here to help save you from that mindset. I'm just here to save you from that, because that's just it's not realistic. Because if it was that easy, think about all these bigger countries you're talking about. They have most African countries have things that these countries want. Do you think if it were that easy, they would have left in the first place or relinquished the power? Or, they would come back. Let's see here. This is African Americans never freed Africa. This is correct. Mr. Carter had not yet signed the Regulation Act of 1978. Nobody but rich and companies could access the rugged routines and high cost of playing. Yes, because if you say you freed Africa, that would mean you would have to, at the time, it's not just slogan. There was no Twitter at the time. There was no Instagram, no YouTube, where you could just post stuff and say, hey, check this out, I did my thing. There was none of that. You have to be physically present. and no marching is gonna save you, because you're trying to march against people who don't care. Looks like we have a caller here. Let's bring him in and see what he thinks about the topic. All right, we have Mississippi. How do you say your name, sir?
Yeah, it's Mississippi.
You, where you calling from?
Mississippi. I'm calling from Mississippi.
Oh, welcome to the Afridamus Report.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you to stop underestimating my people. Like the
Who?
GDs and BDs from Chicago can clearly take on Nigerian army or the Ghanaian army. So why
Oh,
are you saying all this stuff?
oh, they can take on. What do you know about Ghanaian army and Nigerian army?
All I know, I mean, just look at Africa. Look at Africa. Just look at it.
Look at. Have you ever been to Africa?
No, I've never been there.
Oh, so so where you getting this idea from? Do you know the population of Nigeria?
I mean, 50 million, if I'm right. I don't know.
You want to try a little bit higher?
80 million?
Keep going up?
I mean, look, sir, it doesn't even matter. I mean,
No,
just look at the people.
this really does matter. Nigeria has over 200 million people. Have you ever heard of Boko Haram?
No, never heard of that.
You never heard of it. So you don't know what you're talking about. You literally came here.
We can take them. We can definitely take them.
Wait, you literally came on here and mentioned gang members. So can these gang members, can they take on the police?
Listen, buddy, I just take 40 of my guys from the street. We go down there. We can take Accra in days.
Well, okay. Since you've never been there in Africa, I have, and I live in the United States. And in fact, I happen to be, a former law enforcement personnel here. So this conversation is good. I'm very familiar with these gangs that you talk about, right? So I can tell you right now, you do not know what you're talking about, because first of all, do you even think like the gang, right? They can take on the prison. I'm talking about if you bring correctional officers from just a couple of prisons. Do you think the gang, they stand a chance?
Yes, they definitely do.
Huh? So why are they allowing so many of their members, their people, getting arrested and getting sent to prisons for life in most cases?
I mean, buddy, that's the United States military, so there's
No, I'm talking about, in corrections, or they're dealing with the police on the streets, right? And they cannot even go against those. You literally, I told you, I gave you an idea of the population of a country. So let me ask you, do you think, let's say Ghana, because you speak of Ghana, do you think Ghana has an army?
a ragtag one, a best.
Oh, what's the population of Ghana?
I don't know, sir. I don't really pay attention to Africa, but we
So,
would take
oh,
them.
well, so you don't know what you're talking about. You are talking about an entire country. I'm talking, you are calling a country that has, infantry. They have they have bombers, they have navy, just like America. So you cannot go against America, but so you gonna call this type of army ragtag that have all this stuff?
They surely don't have drones.
Are you wait a minute? Are you trolling me? So they can buy bombers, but they can't afford drones. Is that what you're telling me?
Just look at Africa. Look at
But
Africa.
you've never been. Hold on. Where are you from?
I'm from Mississippi, sir.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, it was really nice hearing from you, Mr. Mississippi, but I'm about to bring in another man. Maybe he would know what to talk about.
Yep.
Thanks for coming in. You guys heard Mississippi. All right, we have Fuller Man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm
How's it
doing
going?
well. It's going well. Where are you calling from, Fuller Man?
Yeah, I'm calling from Los Angeles, California right now.
All right, thank you for coming in. What do you want to say?
Well, me, I'm actually, if you see my flags, that's where I'm actually from. I actually had a father who actually fought for independence of.
He's from where?
He's from Guinea-Bissau, Cabo
Okay.
Verde.
Uh-huh.
That's where my family is from. That's where all my family is from. So my dad, he fought under Amilcar Cabral, and all I got to say is that, unfortunately, the independence that was supposed to happen never really happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you look at what happened after, like, all these independence movements took place, like civil wars happened. You know what I mean? Like we started fighting against each other. So Africa was never really it never really reached the potential that these leaders envisioned, like the Patrice Lumumba's, the Thomas Sankara's, because of the simple fact that a series of events took place. You know, I mean, like, let's face it, most of these leaders were murdered by our own people with the collaboration of the colonizers. So, like, I can't say that Africa ever reached its potential, and that's the one thing that I don't really get down with, is like when people romanticize Africa and like think it's really Wakanda when it's really not. You know, there's a lot of things going on over there. Like Guinea Conakry just had a military junta.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
so
when
let me
people do that,
wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
okay.
So did you hear what the previous caller was saying?
Yeah, I heard what the previous caller was saying about how gangs are able to take on African armies and stuff like that.
So do you think he knows what he's talking about?
Well, I mean, all I gotta say is that, like, if he wants to go up that hill, he can try, because even I know from my father and where he trained at, that, like, it's not as what he thinks. You know, you have African armies who actually have, like, training from abroad, like training from training in Cuba. You know, my dad even trained in Cuba and Yugoslavia. You know what I mean? And they would know these things. They would know tactics. They would know, like, I mean, our armies are not at the best level, but we know enough that, like, nobody is just going to come in there and just, like, do what they want to do.
When you say best level and like potential, I get all that, right? Those things can be relative, because literally what I'm saying here is, because I've been hearing people saying, "Oh, we're the ones, we came and freed the African countries," but here you are, not only from what I'm saying debunks all that. Here I'm talking to somebody whose father literally fought in these very wars that I'm talking about.
Well, I want to say another thing too, and this is why I don't like say I'm a Pan African. I like
Mhm.
if someone asks me what my like my view is, I say that I'm just like a radical African nationalist. I don't like put on the Pan African card or the pro black card, because one thing I noticed is that when you tell like a Pan African or a pro black that, like, like you have family that's studying Yugoslavia, or you have family that may be studying like these socialist countries, they like bash you for it and say that, oh, you're just getting the white man's education and things like that, not knowing the history that they've been helping us for like a long time now. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how it went. Like, they
So
have to do the history of like the Cold War and like what went down during the Cold War. Like, you had a
right.
lot of Africans who went to be went to these places to study because they already knew like what time it was, if what you can call it, if it went somewhere else, you know, free of charge. They went to these places free of charge because that was the card that they were pushing. They were pushing that
And many,
socialism card.
I'm glad you said that. And many were not coming to America for that studies, right?
Yeah, correct. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, some of my family studied in Yugoslavia, some of them studied in Russia. You know, I had a cousin who I still have a sister in Cuba right now studying medicine. You know, like, and I'm just saying that because we have like close relations based on like what we went through before. So like when a Pan African comes and just like tries to tell about our history, or like when a conscious person tries to tell about the history, it kind of like, it kind of confuses me, because it's like you never read a book about the history, or you never stepped foot or asked anybody from that country about the history, and you're trying to tell me like about the experience, what we experienced, you know. And I mean, I'm no disrespect, I can't really agree with that. You know what I mean?
So when you say you're a radical African, what do you mean? Are you like? Can
What
you
I mean by that is, what I mean by that is, I'm just for what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. You
right?
know, I'm
Okay.
not for.
Mhm.
I'm not for like. I'm not for. I'm definitely not a liberal. I'm definitely not a conservative. I'm definitely not a Democrat. I'm definitely not a Republican. I'm none of that.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm just for what is right and what is wrong. And then
Okay.
when you see when you see what's going on with like, I'm just saying that, and people bash me for this too. When I see like, well, I saw where feminism was going and stuff like that, and I say, you know, this isn't right. You know,
Mhm.
I saw where this thing was going, and you know, I saw what was going to happen because of it, and like people were bashing me for it, but I was just like, well, you know, I don't know why you're bashing me for this, because this is just what I stand on. When I went to go visit my sister in Cuba, I had people calling me a communist and all types of other things like that, and I'm like, I'm just going to visit family.
Well, you
I'm
know,
just going
those are
to.
just people. It's just words. Just like we just had the previous caller here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
He had to be trolling, but if he truly
yeah,
believes what he's saying, but I wouldn't be surprised, because I've actually ran into black people in America who think just like him, talk like
yeah,
that, and
yeah.
so he literally doesn't know what he's talking about. But Miss Fullerman, thank you for coming in. You know, it's good. It
Yeah,
was good to have you. Don't hesitate to call
yeah,
in anytime.
yeah, definitely. And you can come on my channel too. Like,
What's your
definitely feel
channel?
free to come on. My channel is called Full of Sports.
Full
So
of
instead of
sports.
Full of
What do
Man,
you
yeah,
talk about
I,
there? You
mostly
know,
I
I'll
talk
check
about
you out.
yeah, mostly I talk about boxing, but I do talk about like social affairs. Like, before I leave, I'm just gonna say it. Like, I'm gonna talk about even tonight about how the Western woman is just like damaged goods right now. You know,
Yeah.
it's just I see how it's panning out. You know, I just see what's happening right now, and like it's not really getting any better. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'll be
Yeah,
sure to to check you out for sure.
definitely. Thank
All
you
right.
for
Thank
having
you.
me on too.
Hey, thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
All right. That was Fuller Sports, people. You can sign in. Let me read some of these messages here, even though some of you are not gonna call it. Let's see. Mimi said, "I'm snake watching today. My man wants me to stay away from Afridamos shenanigans, but it is addictive." Man, Mimi, now you're treating me like a bad habit. What is going on here? Audrey said, "Is he unstable? More like conscious groups." Okay. Let's see. Jamie, that wasn't me. Oh, welcome, Jamie. And we have Ronald Objective One. Actually, oh, he's talking to somebody else. The guy from Mississippi was a white guy. I don't believe that guy was white at all, because to many here that would sound crazy, but I won't be surprised if he really truly believed this. He's calling from Mississippi for crying out loud. I mean, he probably doesn't have that much contact with other people from like international people, maybe Mexicans or other Hispanic groups, if even that. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pin it. You're right. Let me see. I need to do that. Give me a second. Let me put that here. Mimi, tell your man you're here to learn. Okay, you're here to learn. He should be coming. He should be coming to the show himself. But give me a second here. Let me pin this. No, hold on. But no. No, that's not what I want to do. All right. Sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty with my pinning game here. Let's see. Pin. No. Put user. Now, why is it asking me to put myself in timeout? Well, anyways, I dropped the line. I dropped the link again. Can someone pin that up for me there before I time myself out? I don't want to do that. Let's see. He said, "Man, he hate Afrodamus. He knows you make me laugh hard. I know he can't handle it." Let's see. Click the three dots. That's what I did. I'm clicking the three dots, and it's asking me put user in timeout. Nope. You see? Yeah, it's not giving me the pin option. It's saying put user in timeout. Let's see that. Okay. Oh, I like that idea. They said you can put the owner in. Nope. Oh well. Okay, people. I'm having technical difficulty here. I guess today my computer game is a bit off, but let's see. That's not. That didn't work. Can somebody hit the pin there? But I have somebody up here. Let's see. We have this is King Minas. King Minas, welcome to the show.
Hello, is this Afrodamus from the Afrodamus Show?
This is this is Afrodamus. Where are you calling from? Don't tell me you're also from Mississippi here.
No, but Mississippi is a neighbor to what they call Arkansas, Little Rock. You know why they call it Little Rock, sir?
Why do they call it Little Rock? I want to hear this.
Because, well, I don't know if this is official, but I was told if you put a shovel in the ground in Little Rock, Arkansas, there's a bunch of little rocks in the ground, and sure enough, there's little rocks everywhere.
Amazing, amazing. This is Africa. Now I know your voice. Welcome to the show. Hey, how do you pin this here? I see you just writing.
Okay, so you do have to click those three dots.
I did,
and it should give you one or two options. One is being pinned, but if it's not having that, then don't worry about it right now. Just keep posting. But I should look into it. I don't know if you have to have 1,000 subscribers yet or not. It might be one of those things, but I doubt it. However, nobody can pin it for you, and in order for somebody to do anything, you'd have to make them a moderator.
Oh, okay.
So you have no mods on your channel whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah. So to mod somebody, to put them in the blue, to give them that wrench, as they call it, you have to hit those three dots next to their name, and then go ahead and make them a mod. There's an option for that. But
well, I see people fighting a lot in this chat area. I don't want to mod them up and they start, clicking off their enemies.
Right. That's a good example to never do it. And then another one.
I'll put "This is Africa" here, mod him up so quick so he can. Oh, it's not giving me. I'll just work on it later.
Yeah, but there's another way to do it, and I can show you how to do that later. Okay. So so like I brought up in the chat earlier, I mean, how are African Americans going to free Africa, any country in Africa back in them days, especially back in them days when there was heavy regulations on the routes that planes went, including the price of the tickets, right. So it wasn't the normal average Blow Joe or Joe Blow, whatever you want to call them, that could afford to do something like that. Was everybody taking canoes across the Atlantic or whitewater rafts? I don't think so. I mean, nothing's going to sustain you for some weeks to go across the Atlantic to make it over there. Right. So it had to be deregulated. And who deregulated? It was in 1978 by Jimmy Carter. And even then, immediately, it wasn't right away to where, okay, there's different routes and there's cheaper airplane tickets, right? That took a while. It took a while for the airlines to create more competition, and also figured out that the deregulated routes were cheaper.
Well, not only that, you just heard the guy from Mississippi coming up here. I mean, I don't know, even if I'm fighting for liberation, with somebody that doesn't even know what he's talking about, I don't know if he would be of any help to me.
No. I mean, how can he be a help to the person he's trying to get a job from, and he can't even fill out the application properly? Well, how is he going to be able to help you in Africa? He's not.
So, I mean, like, were you shocked to hear this guy say what he's saying? Do you think he believes in this?
Some actually do. A lot of it is just fantasy. They have nothing else better to do. And then there are a few of them out there that will just get up on a panel like this just to waste your time, or just truly believe in the stuff that they talk about. But they actually have no real world experience. They haven't been in situations like you talked about, where you started in Sierra Leone and went on to the Gambia. They have nothing like this in their lives. What they know is what they have in their area. And in a lot of places, like, for example, I think it was KTLA in Los Angeles did a report years ago about how many residents just in the county of Los Angeles actually leave the county of Los Angeles. And at that time, I don't know about now, but at that time, 60% of the total population never left Los Angeles. And that includes to go to Orange County just to take a weekend in Disneyland. It just never happened for them.
Yeah, I've met many people, like, especially if you work in the prison, like literally, because you never run into these people anywhere, but somehow they ended up there. And you talk about the areas you're from, and it's close, it's in the city. They've never left their area. They call it the hood. I ain't never left the hood, man. I ain't never been out of the hood. But now the cops brought you here. So I'm guessing Mr. Mississippi probably never left Mississippi. Or his little area, wherever he's at.
But you did hear the little giggles towards the end from Mississippi, right? So Mississippi was trolling you. That's easily a troll.
Yeah, he had to be a troll. Let's see here. Audrey said, "Give me a wrench, man." Audrey, I see you fighting with a lot of so many people. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see, give you guys, see who I'm gonna give the wrench to, because I see Audrey fighting with people here. She would definitely click them out.
I bet she would.
Yeah, definitely. Mimi, if Mimi gets a wrench here, they're gonna have big issue. So she's already hiding to watch the Afridamas.
If you wrench her up, this chat room over here to the right is going to turn into the sumo tribe. So be careful who you wrench up.
Right. No, I mean, I believe in, freedom of expression. As long as people have been, I don't know, not dirtying up the chat area, because I'm not gonna monitor to say, oh, you're mean to this person or not. I'm not gonna do that interpretation. So, I mean, I'm guessing we're all grown here. So, but from what you've heard so far, you're an American. So, where is this idea coming from? Thinking honestly, because even though, okay, let's say Mississippi was trolling, but I've seen videos where people genuinely are saying they can take army. They always talk about the gang members and say they can go to Africa and take over. Like, I'm just confused. Where are they getting these ideas from?
Well, I can say they're getting it from a lot of different areas. Some are actually, believe it or not, very, very few, or their so-called leaders, are reading books like The Art of War out of China,
right?
And then they could think they can copy that and do something with it. And many people read that book and have done nothing with it. Yeah, the Garveys. You read Garvey's book and misinterpret just about everything in it, and nothing ever comes of it. You had the people who absolutely love and enjoy pre-NOI of Malcolm X, but they can't handle the post-NOI of Malcolm X. See, the post-NOI of Malcolm X, he actually woke up and he actually started doing righteous things while still at the same time trying to actually help the Black community in America.
Right.
So, yeah, if you try to say anything and uplift Malcolm post-NOI, they can't handle it. They're only concerned about when he was, being a deviant for the NOI at that time.
Well, it's weird because I'm like, that's why I was trying to lay it out. He went for one of the strongest armies in West Africa, Ghana and Nigeria. They're among like Nigeria has the largest army in that region. So,
but then back to your question, like I said, there's a lot of different areas of where this is coming from, but a lot of them, basically there's no education. So they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know much of what's going on in America, much less Africa.
Right.
And then the so-called leaders, what they're looking for is mostly money. from their followers in one way or another. So that's why it's called a hustle. But at the same time, you have a lot of people, especially the followers, that would love to be a leader of their own country. And so Africa seems to be the only place on the table for them. And so when you have that type of mindset, there's nothing you can do for them. The best thing to do is just forget them, ignore them, maybe talk about their talking points and tell your kids, stay away from these kids over here because they're nothing but trouble, because look who's raising them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that right there, there's nothing that they talk about that's going to help Africa. There's nothing that they talk about that's going to help America, period.
This is going to be interesting because I've seen some of them make video, which is interesting. They said, "Oh, that African guy is weak. He's allowing a Kenyan Muzungu. You're now a Kenyan Muzungu, right?"
Yeah, I've been to Muzungu ever since the day I stepped off the plane in Kenya.
So he's allowing a Kenyan Muzungu to talk. So what is this idea about? You cannot like I'm supposed to put my foot on the white man's neck? Is this what this is about? Because they're saying I'm not supposed to allow a white person to talk.
Right. So go ahead.
No, on a platform created by white people.
Right. At the same time, they're also telling, okay, when they say that about why you letting me talk, at the same time, they're saying that you generalize too much. But yet, What do? They generalize every single other group except themselves.
Right. And this is why I open up the line for those who, want to come and, talk with me about this, take me on, as they would say, because I want to talk about a whole lot, but it doesn't seem like people are, they're coming in, they're just going to interpret it their way. Not that it matters to me, but it makes me laugh. It's funny. And at the same time, pathetic, because how can you say you are oppressed, but everything that comes out of your mouth is directed at, if you could do it, is to oppress other people, take their freedom of speech, their right to even exist. But yet they will tell you, oh, Black people cannot be racist. Oh, I saw somebody write that in my comment section. No such thing as racism, but I call it hate, because that's what they interpret. Because they try to see the people that use that word, they're trying to muddy it up, to change it to something else. But anyone that hates somebody based on their skin color or whatever, that's hate. Any type is just pure evil. So it's either good or evil. That's how I see it. But when you are saying, the moment you open your mouth and start saying someone shouldn't have the freedom, and you're basing it in color, then you fit the criteria of that quote unquote racism. Because they try to say, oh, it's power. Black people don't have power. But hey, you have your mind, you have your heart. Your heart can be dark. No one can control that. And power is relative as well. Because if you think that, like, let's look at in America, tons of white people don't have power or wealth. I see that all the time.
That's true. I see it outside my door every day.
Yeah, I see it all the time. Like, most white people don't have power. In fact, I see a lot of homeless white people. So, but somebody would still be, I can guarantee you, a Black person can go and accuse that person of being racist, and people would swallow it. They would say, oh yeah, he's racist. So that's why I want to have this discussion, open discussion. You can talk about anything. So when you went to Kenya, did you, because I want you to send the signal to Kenyans to beware. because the beach. Do you think they should be worried about the Los Angeles gangsters and the Chicago gangsters?
Not at all, because they would never get a foothold in Kenya. They want to get a foothold. The only time that I ever saw, which was a little bit of concern, which was probably about 14 years ago, was a couple Kenyans that basically grew up in the States, and they were Piru, which means blood. And yes, I'm from Southern California, so I know all the gang lingo.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with all this. Don't forget, I worked in a prison.
Right.
So not only did I meet this, I studied it.
Right.
You know, you have to study this.
So it's like these two guys, they're probably about 18, saying we should bring this back to Kenya. Of course, it would never work, but their mindset was already American because they came to the States as young children. And they were indoctrinated in this cesspool of mess. So for them to even get that idea, thinking that it's going to work back anywhere in Africa, you're crazy.
Look, I'm actually asking you this question as if I really even think it's a possibility, but I just want people to hear this because, like, I know the answer already. You know, I know the answer, but it's just the delusion. The delusion, you know, because it's a lot of fake history. Oh, we freed the Africans. You know, now they see what. Do you see why you confuse African people? You confuse us because you come and say, oh man, you got to help us with white supremacy in the 60s. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, oh, we helped freed you guys. I'm like, but how did you free us?
They're deliberately planting seeds where seeds are not even going to grow. But yeah, I've met many Africans that, for example, I'm not going to say their names, but for example, there's somebody that likes to come here a lot, told me that it took that person about a year to figure out that she wasn't black. Okay.
Right.
Because they told her she wasn't black. Why? Because she was from Africa.
Right.
Which makes absolutely no sense. To
me, she should always respond like I do.
Well,
how can I not be black if I'm the chief executive of the black factory?
Exactly. And you know, when she said that reminded me of somebody in Nigeria. I think it was in 2019. They weren't allowed into a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, is it the McDonald's?
No, it was an actual Chinese restaurant in Lagos. Oh. And after a certain time of the day, they won't allow black people in. And so the person blogged about it, and somebody there asked her, why won't they let you in? Because we're black and we're in Nigeria, the blackest country in the world. Right? So it's almost like, okay, some people are telling people from Africa they're not even black because they're from Africa. And then you have other people going to Africa saying you can't come in after 6 p.m. because you're black.
Wait, the Chinese restaurant is saying the black people cannot come into the restaurant because after 6?
After 6. And yes, they had a Chinese restaurant owner in Kenya for some few years that did the exact same thing. They got shut down. The place was raided after the fact. But you know, the Chinese restaurant didn't start out that way. They had a good owner, and then he sold it to a woman, and she was like that.
Well, usually, you know, like I hate to say it, but even the Karen effect is usually the women that just, you know, take this thing overboard. Because, you know, women like to judge people, you know, so they might just look at you and pass judgments. And she's like, hey, after 6, we can let the blacks in because we can see them. The place is too dark. And so who knows? But thanks for coming in. We have Josie Gold here.
You're welcome. Take it easy.
You too. Josie Gold, welcome to the Afridamus Report.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from South Africa, Johannesburg.
Oh, great. Thank you for coming in. And What do you think about what you've heard? First, are you a Pan-Africanist?
No.
Okay.
I'm no
So,
Pan-African.
Okay. So what do you think about what you've heard so far?
Look, with me personally, I'm going to use my own country as an example. What I've been following, like these channels, pro-black, Pan-African, some run by Africans, some run by diasporas. Whenever they mention my country, diaspora kind of liberated South Africa. But with me,
Right. I
as a
hear
black
that a
South
lot.
African, I was raised by people who fought apartheid. Many of them died. Yeah. Many of them died. They're not here. I never got to see them. So like when someone says that, it just triggers me. It makes me really upset. Look, I've never lived in America. I've never lived outside of South Africa, but it's something that I notice a lot. Like whenever they mention my countries, if like they were the ones who liberated it. I think some of them try to glory snatch. Though, and it's not always Pan-Africanists that do this. Mostly it's not. It's the other ones, like like
South,
the ADOS, AFBA type of like people.
Well, with them,
They're the ones that push.
Well, they freed everybody. They even freed the Black Chinese if they exist. So, that's it. But yeah, I do, especially the focus. They would say, "Oh yeah, we freed the South Africans." In fact, I heard a guy who calls himself the Black Authority. He said something is the craziest thing I've ever heard. This is why when people come here and say, Afridamus, you're a hater, you don't need to talk about this, blah, blah, blah. But they sit there and listen to these things and they enjoy. They're like, B1. This man literally said, he said, Africans don't have any heroes. There's no African heroes. We are the heroes. He said, in fact, he said, we should be worshiping them. Like literally, he said we should worship them like God. I literally sat there and I mean, like it's YouTube. I'm listening to this. And it is just like I opened the line. This is why I opened the line so people can come and talk. The man literally was saying that this is how they freed Africans. And African people, as usual, some spineless Africans would call in and get yelled at. The moment but most of them would agree. They're like, oh yeah, you guys freed South Africa. I said, have you guys ever heard of Nelson Mandela, Steve Biko, and many others? But
look, for me personally, I don't disagree with the fact that they protested. And
well, what's that gonna do?
There was
to
a
be
diverse
honest,
movement. Hold on, no, let me just finish my point. They protest, and there was a diverse movement, but the people on the ground were like, there's a lot of things happening here in South Africa, sick, twisted things, many people being killed. The people that were in the country fighting, destabilizing the country, they're the ones that liberated South Africa.
right?
They put the apartheid government in a position where like they had to like come to the table. They had no choice but to come to the table. So like the problem comes in when they take that whole diverse move and try to make it seem as if that's what ended apartheid. And I think that always triggers me. And I'm glad that that this is not popular among South Africans. This section of YouTube is not popular among South Africans. They would be reacting like mad. So yeah,
I wouldn't be.
I agree with
I wouldn't be surprised because because you see, America is like you said, you've never been here, but see, America, right? It gives most people, like, it's a place where you can be delusional. I mean, you have ample internet, ample everything. You can come and tell people that, oh, hey, we colonized the moon. oh, we're looking to go colonize the moon, stuff like that's how I look at it. But I know people in Africa, most places, if they hear these things, it's not gonna go well. They're not gonna like it, especially South Africa. And also this other idea, they said in South Africa, all of you, the blacks are poor, the white people own everything. Is this true?
No, that's not true. There's been a lot of transformation in South Africa. Like if you go on YouTube in a search tab, if you search white slums of South Africa, there are white people in South Africa that are as poor as black people. As poor as anyone in Africa.
I've seen them.
Yeah, like it's incredible that some people think all white people are rich and all black people are just poor. No, the majority of the middle class is now black South Africans. The majority of the millionaires is now black South Africans. Sure, there are white families that are privileged, but it's not the same anymore. Some white people even immigrated because of some of the laws that the South African government was putting in place to uplift black South Africans. If you bump into a white South African that's immigrated from South Africa, they're very upset, angry at black South Africans. They just want things the way they were. They've lost their privilege. It's not the same as it was for them yesterday. I mean, back in those days of apartheid. Apartheid's over.
So yeah, like the latest riot they had there in South Africa about that Zoomer situation. So I saw it, but they were, knowing like the city I live in and seeing exactly what they show, you see, like what they were showing about what is it called? The riots there. They made it seem like it was all over South Africa. Can you talk about that?
No. The riots happened mainly in some parts of poor areas in Johannesburg and some parts of KwaZulu-Natal. It wasn't all over. Like, look, I live in Johannesburg and life's okay. Even when they were rioting, life is okay. So it was just mainly in those areas there, but it wasn't all over South Africa. But I think some people have a huge problem with the fact that South Africa has been run by black South Africans and it hasn't gone under. I think some people, it scares some people.
Right.
Because many people expected South Africa to be a complete failure being run by black people. But look, Jacob Zuma, I'll take that as a huge failure. He was a huge failure. Like, but the previous president before that, Thabo Mbeki, and the current one, I like what they're doing. Like Jacob Zuma's in prison right now as we talk.
Oh, so they put him in prison?
Yeah, he's in prison right now as we speak.
Oh, here we have someone, Mamizi. She's African. Sometimes it blows my mind, like some of these West Africans who think they're Pan-Africanists, they like to speak on behalf of South Africa, which is weird. She's claiming that, blacks don't have any lands in South Africa. And she's saying 5% of wealthy whites are the ones running South Africa. Can you debunk what this woman is saying? Because you're a South African and you live there. Are black people, all black people, destitute? They don't have land? Is that what's going on?
No. There's a huge difference between land and property. Majority of the property in South Africa, like as in houses, is owned by black South Africans. Let me give you an example. I think this needs a full explanation. Now, let me go back in time to 94 when we got liberated. Many people were living in shacks, and some people still do. But today, 70% of the South African population, well, that was in 2011, so it could even be more now, maybe like 80% of South Africans live in houses. Are they still slums? Yes, but there's been a move to build houses. It's called RDP housing. So there's actually been a move.
But
so that's just housing.
The thing that blows my mind also is, like, for instance, Mamizi, they like to talk about land. You cannot take people out of the city or slum and give them a farmland, like what are they going to do with it?
Just think of the culture shock. Like, look,
Yeah.
for me, I lived in the city my whole life. And just imagine the culture shock of living in the city and being on large acres of land. That's frightening. Look, I even struggle sometimes to do my garden. I'm more of like, I work on my laptop. So this idea that everybody's gonna have land. And the thing is about land, what people don't know is that most of the land in South Africa is owned by the government, not even
Right.
by whites. And another thing is that, like what you said on the whole, you can't just give people land. Well, I agree with you because they don't have skills to be farmer. Farming is a
Yeah.
skill
Yeah.
people go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And like the people and they are black people who are farmers, but they went to school for it. The government is giving people loans to go to school to become farmers. Is everyone going to take it? No. But I take it? No, because I don't want to be a farmer. I don't
Right.
want that large acres of land. Maybe someday I might buy a nice mansion in the north of Joburg. Someday, if things go well for me, if I make good money.
Well, it's the same
But
example like here in America. They have affirmative action, they have free school, but I see a lot of, black people, they complaining, but you can actually go to America, you can go to school for free in America, but they are not taking it. You see? So I think people just want they want all their meals served to them. But did you hear the guy that called from Mississippi?
nah, sorry, I missed it. I have to go through
Anyways,
something.
yeah, he called and he believes that the LA gang members and Chicago gang members can take on African countries. Do you
Look,
think they can take on, the army there?
no, there's no army. Look, over here in South Africa, some parts like in Cape Town, we do have gangs that are similar to American gangs that they can never take on the army. Like, I don't think people understand that Africa has real soldiers, like gang
I,
violence and
I know.
army, military. I mean, like even the police. Look, some of those gangs are tough and all, but I think if they came here and met gang members here in South Africa, they wouldn't take anything. Like some of our
That,
poor neighborhoods, it's not as bad as it used to be, because I think those are the after effects of apartheid. But nah, I think some of these guys are just dreaming. It's not gonna happen
I
here.
think
Especially,
I think I'll put my money is on the South African gang members and the Nigerian gang members. I no, seriously, because I know I know these people here, compared to South Africa or Nigeria or Ghana, like they're saying. I think my money is on the continental gang members.
yeah, because I don't think they actually know what they install. Yeah, like that's rough. And another thing I wanted to address, like there was look, I saw it, like I picked it up on YouTube. The South African guy who did something called rope ties,
Oh yeah,
and I
the
think
the necktie.
yeah, the thing. Look, for me as a South African, right, many of our own people were hanged during apartheid. There was actually movements to stop hangings.
Right.
It was inhumane, so I don't like it. But with him, he's saying he's doing it, kind of like to get rid of that stigma. Like he's trying to like move it away from that trauma. Like how these odd type of people think. Do I agree with
Right.
it? No. But one thing that bothers me is this. I don't get why people across the ocean in America would think that it's about them. Because if you look at
Yeah.
his Facebook
Well.
post, if you look at
Oh.
his Facebook post,
Uh-huh.
yeah, if you
They
look at
went
his
after
Facebook
him.
post, they went after him, but he's marketing this product in South Africa. He's selling it in South African currencies. He's shipping it around South Africa, nowhere else. But they somehow thought that it was about them. I don't get
Well,
how
that's that.
they
Well,
could think.
that's that. well, you have to remember there's that American ethnocentrism. They really honestly, like I'm talking seriously, like they're not gonna like this, but black people in America, they really think they are so important. They think everything is about them. Because I can't even believe that they actually complained about somebody in South Africa who's not even thinking about them, who know nothing about them, and they made this about, I read something, I don't know if this is true. They said the guy apologized for that. What is he apologizing for? That's what I don't understand. But what is he apologizing for? Like, he didn't sit there and say, hey, you know what would be cool is to do this that looks like a news, and I'm doing it because of America. Do South Africans sit there thinking about American culture, like American black, to cater their life centering around them? Is this what is happening?
Look, there is some sort of appreciation for American culture in terms of music and entertainment, but in our daily lives, no, because we got our own problems and we live our own lives. Look, let me put it in this way. This guy, all he did is this. He was trying to address a past that South Africa had of hangings. And for him, like I said, it's some sort of artsy thing that people are doing. The people who responded the most are not South African, because his product is not even big here in South Africa. I don't see people wearing that robe ties because of the past we have. It makes some people feel uncomfortable. The only reason why I even know this guy is because of African Americans. No one's talking about it here. Even if you look at the news posts, like online, when you type in robe ties, all of the articles, none of them are from South African media. It's all American and foreign media.
Well, they're
So
making
it's not a big thing here. They're the ones that made
they're
him popular.
making him popular.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're the ones that made him popular. They're the ones that made him popular. They're the ones that put him out there. I didn't even know this existed up until I saw it here online. But I don't get, like, it's something that puzzles me. That
we have somebody, Mamizi. Mamizi, you said you're here to check us. Hey, let me drop the link, Mamizi. You feel free to call in. Today is call in day. You seem to have a lot to say. You would have the chance to speak. Tell us what you know. So, wow,
because for me personally,
Mhm.
because for me personally, I have nothing against African. I don't know African Americans like that, but it just puzzles me. Like, how could you think that this is something to do with you and about them? Because they're the ones who are complaining the most. But this guy's continuing what he's doing. Personally, I don't like it because of our past, but I'm not gonna like go after him, bother him, because it's also linked to our past. Hangings are not just done to Black Americans. Like, it just puzzles me. How is it that
even in America,
far away, it's not even marketed to you?
There is, I can guarantee you, if you read it, even with the KKK or whoever hangings, there, I can assure you, there are way more white people hanged in America than blacks. That's a fact.
Didn't know that.
I've heard people, like, literally they have the numbers, because they talking, like, because when you talk to some black people who try to tell you about this, quote unquote, or the KKK did this and that, like, these numbers are there. It's not that many people that were hanged. But just like with the quote unquote Tulsa, Oklahoma bombing, now you even have some Africans that run with that and say, oh, Black Wall Street. So, okay, you mean to tell me a small town in Oklahoma or Rosewood, that's what would have saved the black people in America? But let's say that happened, right? Well, if you really got it, you can just replicate it. Now things are much easier to do. But people don't want to do that. They want to pull other people into their misery. because you know misery loves company. This individual is all the way in South Africa. He has absolutely nothing to do with American history. He knows nothing about it. He's not even thinking about America. Why are they even talking about him? That's what I don't understand. Just like I saw, they brought, you know, that the African Pan-Africanist guy, Professor PLO, the Kenyan guy.
I know him.
That guy, that guy, he's really, you know, all he does is quote dead Pan-Africanists. You know, that's what he does in all his speeches. And when he says instead of just saying 1960, he would say 1965 to just make it sound dramatic, you know, to make himself sound intellectual. And people fall for this, you know. But they brought him to this quote unquote black show. They call it Black News Network, which is owned by white liberals, for him to talk about why they have Israel as an observer state, observer in the AU made Israel as observer state. But that's not even, they just heard about it. They just renewed Israel's observer state status. It doesn't mean they have power whatsoever in anything. They're just observing. But now they are saying, oh, conflating it to make it seem like, oh, Israel's got power over Africa. Why do they have them? Why don't they have Haiti? Look, Africa has its own problem as it is. Why would Africa add Haiti onto it? Because people are talking about skin color. The skin color doesn't pay. How is Africa going to benefit by taking a Caribbean country just because they are black and add them to the African Union? It makes no sense. They have CARICOM, they have their own organizations in their area, you know. But this professor and this other Black News Network people, they want to talk about African situations, and they are not even African. They know nothing about African history. They don't know the ins and outs of Africa, and it's confusing even the black population, to be quite honest, because whatever they see on TV, majority take that as the truth. And I can see how when they come across people like you and I who are realistic and speaking of what is factual, it just blows their head. They're like, no, you're a sellout, you're this. And last time I read, I don't know if this is true, about Julius Malema in South Africa. I heard that he was being investigated for corruption, the king of Pan-Africanism. Is this true?
Yeah, it's true. Malema's being investigated for corruption, and I think he's not even just being investigated; he's on trial. So I don't get why they would support someone. Look, I'm nothing against African Americans and Pan Africans, but some of the things that's being done, especially on the internet, is illogical.
Right.
Guy is not. Most Black South Africans don't see Malema as a hero. Does he have a following? Yes, he does. Does he appeal to some people? Yes, but those people are a minority. Most people would never follow Malema. He's too radical. There's a dark cloud over his head. He's being investigated for corruption. Like, there are many things that he's done here that have put many people off. It's seen as indecent, his behavior, by many people. So no one's gonna vote for Malema. It's not gonna happen. And like, I've been on panels where I told some Pan-Africanists this, and they didn't take it seriously. I don't know why.
Well, the thing is, you know, a lot of those people, I don't take them serious because they don't even, honestly, half the time they don't know what they are talking about. They think Africa is like truly Wakanda, like where you think things are gonna go the way exactly you perceive it to go, and you can throw tantrums, and the Africans would just throw their hands up and give in and say, hey, welcome, this is Wakanda, this is how things run here. Because even myself, at one point, Malema, I used to think he could be president. He could be the next president of South Africa because of the hype that they put out. But I had to kick back and do real investigation on my own, just like about that PLO, Professor Lumumba. I started listening to him. I realized this guy is not saying anything that makes sense. You see? So
for me, like, I think what many people need to start realizing is that, look, many of these people, Julius Malema, PLO, Lumumba, they're just telling people what they want to hear, not reality.
Right.
Like, in real life, especially in Africa, you don't just do as you please.
Right.
And the rules, and they also they are dynamics. Look, I'll be honest. I have acquired some sort of success on a continent, so that's not a lie. You can do that on a continent, but it's not a fairy tale. There are challenges. It's not a fairy tale, and I'll be straight with you. The South African government has been good to me, and I meet many Africans from across the continent who are successful. People who've never left the continent, so it is possible. It's not a fairy tale.
I have plenty of my relatives who, they themselves, I'm telling you, they are wealthy. They got all their wealth, in Africa. They've never left. They made all their money in Africa. So yeah, it is, people do it all the time.
Sure, but I think what some people, especially those who are interested in coming to the continent, I think they must really find out what the situation is on a continent, the good and the bad and the challenges. So there's crime in many places, some more than others. Some countries don't really have much. They don't really have good economies, some better than others, but there are opportunities in many countries across the continent. But I just think that people should start focusing on reality. Reality is both good and bad. Understanding, like, some countries don't have really good laws, some do. Understand those dynamics of the continent. Yeah.
Right. Man, I'm glad you called in, to give your 2 cents about this, because it's good to have somebody from South Africa, who lives there, not the people that think they know South Africa. They tell you, oh, I Googled something. So everything on Google is now real. So, but I would rather speak with the individual who actually lives there. Like, I'm not gonna discuss South African issue with someone who's never even been there. They don't even understand the country. How do you feel when you hear people like from West African countries who know nothing about South Africa pretending to be experts of South Africa?
It's something that really bothers me, because they've never even been here and they're speaking about South Africa. So they've never been to South Africa, never set foot in South Africa, but they just create this crazy idea that South Africa is this and that. Like, I think sometimes another thing that we need to be careful of is, like, there's certain group of Africans that pander to, like, crazy Pan-Africanists.
Did you see my did you see my my pandering video that I made? What I said there?
Like the one about the Nigerians.
Yeah.
I think you did it with the Africa Reacts guy. Yeah, I caught part of it. I know
you have to see it. Yeah, when you get the chance, watch it, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Like, I really don't take these people serious. Like, somebody like Mami Z is here, I'm not even paying. I'm not taking her serious. She's just a troll as far as I'm concerned. because she doesn't know what she is talking about. Absolutely nothing. You know, because she wants to perpetrate this victimhood mindset. I just finished saying, I I have my relatives who made their money in Africa. She's like, oh, using poor people. So these are, is the type of, thinking people like her have, and they think
Well,
they want to promote Pan-Africanism, which, you know, you want to promote Pan-Africanism, but you don't even get along with your own neighbors. How does that even make sense?
start at home, start in each country,
Exactly.
and then find a way of working with other Africans, because that's how I see it. But the crazy version of Pan Africanism is taken over, and they create this whole thing that we are one and so on, and we all get along. That's not true. So many of us just don't get along, even in our own countries. But
Right.
I do think that in reality, we could find things that we could collaborate on and move on from there.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
yesterday I did a discussion with a woman, raising the vibe. It was a good interview. If you missed it, you gotta watch it. And we talked, started off, and she talked about, gave the Pan-Africanist talking points and stuff. But I was able to bring her in, you know, for her to see, how things really are in Africa. And towards the end, it went well, and the conversation ended up in good note. Like, if you have something you want to collaborate with people on the continent, Africans, yeah, you can do that. But to say you're putting conditions, saying, oh, we see white people in Africa, we see Indians, Lebanese, we just can't stand that. Like, okay, African people are not thinking like that. Like, maybe you have a certain feeling about other people. That doesn't mean I have to feel that way about those people. And even because I gave her the example where I said, those Lebanese you even talking about, do you not, you realize, like, a lot of those people are actually Gambian citizens. They were born and raised there. So you are literally attacking,
Facts.
you're attacking, natives of that country, people who are born in that country, born and raised. Like, you're talking bad about them. They have voting powers. They can talk to their representatives. I know Lebanese who is like, you look at him, you're not gonna know he's Lebanese, but he's running for office. Some people, you see them, they're darker, you don't know what they are. So you are saying these things about them. You don't even understand. So, but
Yeah,
long story short, she was able to, I hope she understood, what I was saying.
yeah, and I agree with that. I want to add on to what you're saying with the whole people from other races thing. Over here in South Africa, they pay many different races: white people,
Mhm.
Chinese, Indian, Arabs. They even like people from South America, Hispanics now. So it's a very multi-racial society. Even though majority, of course, are Black African, and we also have people from all over the continent. So we're a very diverse society. Many of the
Yeah,
people
so
from other races, many of the people from other races were born here. And for
right.
me personally, let me give you an example. Not all people are going to start businesses. But if someone
Right.
from another community or from another country, let's say, comes here, starts a business legally, pays his taxes, hires locals, for me, that's a bonus. And that also gives us an
Absolutely.
opportunity as locals to learn from that individual. They do something different. Let me give you an example. Many people don't know that most of the infrastructure that's in South Africa today was actually built by Black South Africans. And look, how did Black South Africans get the skills to do those things? And
From
unfortunately, we got those skills during apartheid by working for white people. So
right.
having people around you with different skills enlightens you. You see things that you would have never seen in different ways. That's why the bulk infrastructure, the roads, the railways, majority of that stuff today is built by Black South Africans. So having other people come in to fill in gaps and learning from them, trying to figure out how they got those skills, because a kid gets to see how someone else does something in their country. So it
Well,
gives you it opens your mind to new possibilities. So having people from other communities is not a bad thing. And I don't think Africans should feel bad about learning from other people. Because at the
no,
end of the day,
absolutely not.
China is where it is because of how they brought in companies from America and Europe and they learned from them. Now they're doing their
Right,
own things and they've even reinvented certain things. They've even taken it to a new level. Why can't
right.
Africa do the same thing? America itself did something similar, where unfortunately slavery made them rich, but after slavery, they invited many people from
But you see,
encouraging
that's
immigration from other parts of the world.
see,
That's what built America.
that's actually
Yeah.
a misconception. Slavery didn't make
Okay.
America rich. If you look at
What
slavery
made
was concentrated in the southern part of the United States. Those were like the slave states. Those are the poorer places in America. That slave economy, because slaves were owned by private people. If you look at the ledger, like even what the slave owners were getting, they weren't really making that much. You go back in 1900, slavery was over in America, right? The cotton that was produced within the Industrial Revolution was 200 times more than when they had slaves. Machines, inventions is what made America rich. The states that you look at, the new states where there was no slaves, those are the richest states. So
So you saying immigration, like people coming in from other countries, you saying that's the main thing?
yeah,
Because
no, I mean, if you look at like the different, because America, you look at America was poor, for the most part, up until uh, they entered the world wars. They were able to tap into other resources outside of America and bringing in people, people from different backgrounds, so those people they brought lots of wealth, knowledge, skills, because this is why America is still what it is. They are open to bringing in people. Things are new every time, new, different skills in America. You see, like people talk about slavery, that slave economy that died way back in 1865. Before that, which was the Civil War in the South. You can read about the South economy even during those times. They did not, they were not wealthy. Few people were. And did you even know, like, there were a great number of slave owners who were black themselves? Did you know this?
no, like I need to read up on that.
Yes,
Yeah, I
great
need to read
number,
up on
great number, great number. Great number of like you go place like Louisiana, Louisiana, South Carolina, Mississippi, those colonies. There were plenty of black slave owners, during that time.
that.
In fact,
Look,
the first person to fight legally in American court to be able to own a human for life, it was a black person. He
yeah.
went he
Look,
when it was time for him to set the slave free, he went to court and fought against it for him to keep the man.
look, that's an
Yeah,
interesting history. I'm gonna read up on it. Look, the point that I was trying to make is that it's not wrong for Africans to learn from other people, like other people have learned from others. That's
right.
that's the point that I'm trying to make, and I think that will benefit Africa. Because unfortunately, right now, what I'm seeing in South Africa, even with other African countries, is that people just want to hold on to the old ways. And we need to hold on to some of our customs and traditions as Africans. I think it's important. But some things have to change to move forward. Learning from other people is not a bad thing. The Japanese learn from Americans, and Japan is one of the most advanced countries in the world. Why? Because they were willing to change. Some things and aspects of our cultures have to change for us to move forward. That's what I'm saying.
Man. And you know, Josie, you are a smart man. You know, the way you are thinking, this is how most Africans should be thinking. Open their mind to learning instead of perpetrating this victimhood mindset, looking for handout or letting their ego be in the way of learning. You've said it all, because literally, Josie, my time here in America, Trua, I spend my time. Do you know how many skills I've acquired living in America? The skills it's everywhere. If you are not learning it, there's something wrong with you. If you are not picking up these skills, you are your own worst enemy. You are the one in your own way. Plain and simple, because no one is stopping you. And you're right, the Japanese never invented a car, but they brought the car, they sent their people, they learn about cars in America. And they went back. Mr. Toyota started the Toyota company. He didn't you cannot name a Japanese inventor. All the inventors are Americans. They just, improvise it and improve upon it. And you're right. Look at them today. Even, when they first started buying, bombers, they bought it from America and Germany, and they worked on it and started creating their own. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They just added onto the wheel. And you're right. There's no reason for Africans not to do the same thing. Learning is the way. Learning is the way.
And as Africans, with our ingenuity, I think if we just added that, we would take over the world, because with the resources that we have and the creativity just needs to be applied in the right way. We could take over the world. I'm just saying. Yeah. Well,
thank you very much for coming in. It's good to hear Africans that make sense. You definitely yeah. Because it gets old, hearing these panderers and begging people, oh, please come to my country, and they don't even want to come to your country. What does that tell you? Like, they don't want to come to your country, but you're begging them. You see, they already chose where they want to go to. Like, just let it go.
Look, for me, I have nothing against diasporans coming to the continent. If they want to, they can. But it's Africans that are going to change Africa. No one else.
Right. This is the truth. This is what the topic is even about. Just like Africans are the ones that freed themselves of their former colonial masters, is the same way that it's gonna be Africans that are going to build Africa, and that is happening.
Yes, I agree. Look, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. All right.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. We have the conservative. Welcome to the show, the conservative. Can you hear me?
Hey,
I know you.
I can hear you. Yo, what's going on?
Can you hear
what's
me?
What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. So, can you tell the people where you're calling from?
All right. So, well, I'm calling from Philadelphia. I'm at work
Philadelphia,
right
thank
now,
you.
but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
have you been listening to, you know, the show here?
Yeah, I've been listening to the I listened to a little bit of the show. I tuned in earlier to I tuned in earlier to to your earlier broadcast, and and um I believe, what were you talking about? I believe you were talking about how like how the Africans tend to want to play the victim all the time, and I think it was something of that nature. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was talking about, you know, the
mhm.
Pan-Africanists, or like, because you know there is black people in America that think they are Africans, and you have other Africans that pander to
Right,
that, you know, to perpetrate
right,
that victim. Are
right.
you, do you consider yourself Black American or African American?
Yeah. So, all right. So in the context of it, I mean, considering that my parents, my parents were African. They you know they migrated from Nigeria to to come to America. But
Oh,
I
okay.
was born here.
Oh, okay.
I consider myself an American.
Okay. Perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's perfect.
So,
So your parents,
yeah,
they
yeah.
so you will be considered,
So,
you're an American.
but yeah, but the whole it,
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Can you
right.
can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. So the whole I mean yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? Because I'm kind of I think a little bit, not
Your
so much
service
though.
is like
Yeah,
delayed.
I think I don't know. Can you still hear me or no?
I can hear you right
Oh,
now. Yeah.
okay. How well can you hear me? Is it
We can, you're just perfect. Stay right there.
just fine? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. Right. So yeah. So the whole, I mean, my honest opinion about the whole Pan-Africanism thing is obviously it's a rouse. It's it's a hustle.
It
It's
is.
uh it's it's mainly these Black Americans that came up with it and are trying to and they're trying to pretend as if they that they're trying to pretend as if that all the blacks have to stick together because the so-called white man is after them and all this other stuff. But truth be told, these are the same people too that have been complaining about how bad America is and everything else, but they're not willing to leave themselves. And also
Right.
they don't mind for asking for donations, but you never ever, but when they donate, you never know where the money actually goes.
Right.
You know, so it's to me, it's all a farce. I mean, we live in a free country where you know where the opportunities for you to make it are are endless. If you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to put the time and the effort into it, then you'll be able to make it. So this whole idea of having black people stick together and this whole, black has to stay together. I know there are a few people that are like that. And I said, okay, and what about the blacks that kill other blacks? You want
Right.
to stick around them as well? Are you trying to tell me that all black people are good people? That's you know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's a good point. But you see, when you
right,
bring that up, they always say, "Oh, there you go with the black on black crime." No, you know what? I should just allow black people to just shoot me, Okay, I should go around them and like, what's wrong with people? You know, like even in Africa, if there's civil war, they see people living. They're not only stopping in the next country. They are trying to go across the ocean to be far, far away from that civil war. But now you're telling me, you look at it, you go to places like Chicago, you go to those places, Baltimore, people literally, they would try to defend this type of behaviors. Children cannot play outside freely. You know, you have people cannot hang out on their porch without, you know, risking their life of, you know, catching a stray bullet. You know, you're not even safe in your own place. So how are you telling me this is what I should be supporting? That doesn't make any sense. You know, because that doesn't make sense.
No sense. Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense. Though I remember we discussed this when we were at the men's conference.
Right.
You know, just it seems as if they want to blame at least the blacks, the ones that are into it. Not all. I don't want to marginalize, but the ones that are into all of that. Seems like they want
just say not all, but most.
Not all,
but most.
But most. They seem to want to blame everybody else for their
but themselves.
Except for themselves. It's like, you know, well, the white man did this and the white man did that. And I'm thinking, well, do you believe that white people are superior to you or something? In a free country, how can you say that that you don't feel free in a free country?
Yeah, because it's confusing, because, you know, like usually when they tell like a African person, oh, we are not free, like Africans that come to America know America is a free country. They know this 100%. Anybody that comes here knows America is a free country. For you to be able to even get on the internet or on the street to say all these things is because you're free. Go try this in those quote unquote African countries you talk about so highly and see what's going to happen. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. They don't have that, you know, constitution to say, you know, this is what's going to happen. You know, where that protects, you know, your speech, like in America, to say or do whatever you want, as long as you're not hurting someone. But it's a free country, to be quite honest.
All right.
But thanks for calling, and feel free to call anytime when you're not at work.
You know, the opportunity. All right, cool, no problem. Oh, by the way, I have a YouTube channel. I just started up a YouTube channel.
Can you give
under
it
the name that
what is it called?
into? So, you know,
the conservative.
Oh, you know, I think I still have. Yeah, it's called it's called the conservative. If you put the name in, it may not come in. I believe I still have your number, so I'll just send you the link.
And, okay. Yeah. Send me the link.
And you can check it out. I already have a few videos uploaded. So.
Okay, I'll check you out.
Okay.
Hey,
All right, man. Yeah. And anytime. I'll call in another time.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
All right, we have Botep here. Botep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
All right. Have you been listening to the conversation? And can you tell the people where you're calling from, Mr. Botep?
Yeah, I'm calling from Florida.
From Florida. So, are you a Pan-African priest?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, this whole concept about even from the title of the show, who liberated African countries from colonialism? You know, like we was fighting our own battles at the time. You know, so it's hard to say, especially if you can't narrow it down to which country are you talking about in.
Right.
The exact, you know, like I believe you can make the argument that we probably influenced in some regards, whereas some of those African leaders came over here, Kwame Nkrumah, for example, right? And he was influenced by the freedom struggles that was going on in America. And when he went back and he took that energy back to his country and whatever, motivated them to fight for independence.
No, but you see, Bo, that's where people got it all wrong. Kwame Nkrumah's influence to be able to fight, he's kind of like, he's a socialist, right?
Right.
It has nothing to do with American ideology. Kwame Nkrumah left America. He went to England. His political ideology, he started developing it there. He was supposed to be going to school, but he hooked up with some communists there at the time. This is like in the 1950s, early 50s. So he would go to these places giving speeches and stuff like that. The communists, these people that influence him, they are literally communists. Like, you could read about him. He says absolutely nothing about America.
A lot of those early communism had a big, if you look at the Black Panthers and a lot of these other groups,
oh yeah, they're
around
communists
that time,
too.
It was a large communist influence. You even had James Baldwin and other blacks in that era actually going to Russia, studying in Russia,
right,
like, on the ground in Russia. So they had that influence there. But not to bog it all down to just one particular person, or even if you look at his relationship with W.E.B. Du Bois, the influence was there, right? But
yeah,
even still, granted, whatever, right? When he went on the continent of Africa, the African people, once in power, like, they weren't even receptive to that message. It didn't even translate back to the continent.
They ran him off.
So, so I mean,
but the proof is that once you start talking all that mess, they're like, look, man, you need to get out of here.
All that Hotep babble and everybody just the same and wanting to get with the Egyptians and all that, like, so
wait,
I mean,
Bo, are you telling me you are not Egyptian?
Man, listen, I don't buy into none of that, man. I don't buy into none of that, and I believe that it's power within everybody knowing who they are. You know what I'm saying? And standing on that. I don't believe it's no power in elevating one group or concentrating your resources on one group and downplaying the next group or whatever. Like, to me, that's a backwards ideology.
Right?
Because it's like you abdicating your, what I mean, your place,
right?
So to speak. Like you was talking about the violence in America or whatever, or you could just be sitting on your porch and get shot. Like, Hoteps will say you hating or you saying something wrong, but that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact. That's a fact. There's neighborhoods in America, ADOS, FBA neighborhoods in America, where you can be getting off your school bus, going to school at 5 years old, and you can get shot. It happens. It's happened before. It's gonna happen again. You cut on the news, you see it happen every day. You know what I mean?
But that's what blows my mind. Like, sometimes these Hoteps, they would say, "Oh man, he don't know what he's talking about. He African." Yeah, dude, I'm from Africa, but that was a long time ago. You know how long I've been living here? But it's like one of these things where they will convince themselves. When the person says something, they will say, "Oh, he a sellout," or "he a coon." That's their way of, reconciling to not hear what the truth is. But have you heard Dr. Umar encouraging Black people to give up their American citizenship and move to Africa?
He's a Hotep, man. I try not to listen to those people. I don't want to be indoctrinated by him. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these people, you got to realize Pan-Africanism is a religion. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So then that's why people, they don't want to hear the truth. You know what I'm saying? They don't. Like, your truth is a threat to whatever they got going on. So that's when you become an agent, you become a hater. You know what I mean? They got to
be with a white woman.
They got to find a way to discredit or demonize you so as other people won't hear your truth, won't hear the truth or whatever. You know what I mean? Because just on principles alone, they have nothing to stand on. It's weak foundation. You know, they're just appealing to people's emotions. You know what I mean? Getting them to buy into all this stuff. You know, so I try not to listen to those people. But in time, as you look in time, all your favorite hoteps over time become exposed as just even if not to use the word frauds, we'll just say incompetent. You know what I mean? Just incompetent.
This, you know, I mean, the
Dr.
thing is,
Umar included. He's been collecting money for 10 years to build the school. You know what I mean? And still collecting money to build the same school, and people still buy into it. You know what I'm saying? He's their hotep leader. You know what I'm saying? He's the Messiah.
But this is the thing, though. Like, what is it about? You know, most black people. What is it about them that they are willing to buy into this? And like, what are they gaining from this?
From what? The hotepism?
Yeah, like, because people are seeing things happen, but they still just want to allow themselves to be swindled, and they repeat this hotep talking points, and they're arguing with Africans about silly things.
I think
like, what are they gaining?
I think some people got good intentions, but they're gullible. I think some people have crazy nut cases, you know, because there is a certain element, let's just call it like a post-traumatic slave syndrome, you know what I'm saying? Whereas just living in America as a minority, growing up with all the microaggressions that come from being around white people, especially like how you see like a lot of older people, like in their 50s and 60s, you know, they grew up in a time when racism wasn't covert, it was in your face, you know what I'm saying?
It was a legal thing.
It was systematic, exactly. So, you know, they see this as a chance to just, you know, it's almost a fantasy world, you know. They want it to be what they want it to be, you know. Like they think you can escape. Okay, you may be able to escape racism, but you can't escape tribalism. So there's always going to be something, you know what I mean? And I think that it's just people who bought into it for whatever reasons, you know, whatever drama they have in their past from dealing with white people. Or even if you look at Pan-Africanism as a religion, how it is as a religion, like the Garveyites, you know, like they actually believe that they're fulfilling some type of prophecy. That you know what I mean? So
he's never been to Africa.
But they feel as though he's the Messiah. They call him the Messiah. They repeat his words as though and they believe that by going to Africa, they're fulfilling his prophecy.
I mean, like that's fine and cool, but now you run into a person from Africa who don't share your experience or what you believe in. Why be upset at that person? Like, why?
It's the same way a Jehovah's Witness would be upset when they knock on your door and you tell them that you don't believe in God. You know what I mean? you don't believe in Jesus, or you don't believe in whatever religion they trying to, what do you call it, like proselytize or whatever. You know what I mean?
And you know, I see this on panels, man. They scare the hell out of these Africans, and they start saying things they themselves don't believe in. You want to tell me these African people believe in Pan-Africanism? Oh, we could. Before you want to reconcile with blacks far away in America, start with your neighbors where you at first. Then I would believe that you're sincere. Like, you see,
but are they in Africa though? The Africans who you call quote unquote Africans,
no, they're not there. You're right.
In Africa?
You're right. They're not over there.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right about that.
When was the last time they was in Africa? Were they even born in Africa? You know what I'm saying? Did they grow up in Africa? A lot of them don't even know a lot of the issues that's going on in Africa. If you ask them about issues that's going on in the same places that they was raised in, they wouldn't know.
Oh, you know I've heard many talking. They don't even know what they're talking about.
So it's like the hotep go along, get along gang. Like you hear Kwame, they just want to be a part of something too. You know what I'm saying? They see the African Americans going over there doing stuff, and you know what I'm saying? And they want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Somehow or whatever, however, you know.
Yeah, this is it's becoming toxic. You know, I don't know if you heard
then you got to think it's profitable too. It's a hotep hustle. It's a po hustle. You know what I mean? So they feel like maybe they could get a couple of dollars up out of, you know what I mean?
So wait a minute.
Out of somebody.
So Botep, are you gonna start your own faction here?
Nah. I don't have time for the headache. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want the land. I don't want none of that.
Did you hear the earlier caller, the first one that said that, you know, he believes the Bloods and Crips and like gang members can go against they're gonna go to Africa against an actual African country's army. He chose Nigeria and Ghana. Like
the same niggas that can't shoot a gun straight and shoot little 5-year-old girls and innocent women and shit. You know what I'm saying? These ain't no trained marksmen who know how to shoot and can fight in no army.
Well, that's the thing. Like because on, see, I know
that's
the
what
answer.
I call Hotep Babel. That's what I call the Hotep Babel.
Like I know the answer, but I want the people to actually hear these people say this so they know I'm not making this up. Like literally, these people are saying this and they believe in it. There's an old dude, some old crazy Hotep, who is out there making videos talking about, oh yeah, we're coming with our army, we're taking out those ragtag African army, we're colonizing them. I'm like, what is going on? Have these people lost their minds?
That's also a part of Pan-Africanism, the delusions of grandeur. If you listen to them, a lot of them have these delusions of grandeur. You know what I mean? They actually believe they can replace the Chinese and build the infrastructure and highways in Africa and do all this other shit, build power factories and power grids. You know what I'm saying? But a nigga can't build a patio.
Man, they can't even cut their grass. They can't even cut their grass. Okay, I mean, it just. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, you know, these are people who used to. They can't even. They said they can't do anything for themselves. But now, when it comes to Africa, everyone is skillful. Everyone is a businessman. Now we have military experts. I mean, you can't make this up. This like, I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, wait, is this for real? But when I see them on panels with actual Africans and they are actually discussing this, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. I can't handle this.
I do see a lot of ex-military over there. I'm noticing that pattern though, with the ex-military influence.
Right.
But I don't even. I view it more so as like a midlife crisis though, personally. Like they done been in America, because you got to think the military is like the pinnacle of white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? You dedicated 20 years of your life fighting for white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Or to defend it, to say the least. So when I hear them talk all that back to Africa, blackity black, black, it be like, bro, like you just spent 20 years in the military, bro. Like, relax. You know what I'm saying? I think now they just got their little pension and they feeling good, ain't got nothing to do at home. And you know, Africa is on their target, you know, which is cool.
Hey, you know the Back family, right?
Right.
So you know how he goes around recording and stuff. So I know the place in Gambia. I know the I know these places. So I'm like, look, he going in the cool areas and on his land. I said some of these places he can't go there and film. And sure enough, he wandered off and found himself in one of these places filming. So they came out, they asked him, they said, why are you filming? I knew that was gonna happen. Like, because you can't just go wander off in people's areas filming. Some people are gonna take offense to that. The dude came out. They want to know why he's filming. Man, his voice changed quick.
You know, but I look at them like, I put them in that category. I don't even consider them Pan-Africans. I don't know if they consider themselves Pan-Africans.
Oh no, they talk about
that black unity,
black family. But
black
you
family,
already,
black
man,
child.
Man, you
But I
already
just see
know.
Rick. I see Rick as an old dude, like an
Yeah.
uncle I have, just bored, restless. You know what I'm saying? He got his little pension or whatever, and he just restless, and found something to do that, you know what I'm saying, interests him in life at this time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think he take himself that serious, to be honest with you. I think he just entertaining himself. You know what I mean?
Right.
He found out
Right.
he could get this camera, make a
Yeah.
couple of extra dollars over there, you know, get some donations, so he gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, quite frankly, like I see it as they're pretty entertaining.
Right.
You
That's
know.
what I look at it as.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Because they're over there, beefing with each other, calling cops on each other. It's just,
Just
the whole thing.
entertainment.
It's totally entertaining, man. But Bo, thanks for coming in again, man. I'm almost 2.5 hours. I did one earlier. Did you catch last night's interview?
No, I didn't. I
Oh
didn't.
man, you gotta watch it. It was a good one.
That was the one with the sister from the Gambia.
Right, right.
Right. I caught pieces of it, matter of fact.
Yeah,
But yeah, man.
it was a good one, But Botep, you
Yeah,
can
man,
always
keep your foot on these hotels' neck, man. I'm glad finally that people telling the truth. Not even
oh
telling
yeah.
the truth, but just being honest. You know, for so long you had all these content creators from Africa and everywhere. You know, they wanted to be with the go along, get along hotep gang. You know what I'm saying? And they were sitting here lying in people's face. And even when they heard the truth, if you ask them, "Hey, is that true?" They won't even. They were scared to even tell these people, like, "Yeah, he's right. Yeah,
I
that's the
know.
truth." You know what I mean?
I know.
So you
Did you
gotta.
not see the leader of the the Kenyan tribes, man? He got mad and made a video
Fat
about
boy,
me.
fat boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch his video though. I seen your video though. But you know what I mean? But these the people they support though. The same ones who will sit over here now in your chat and pretend as if they support you, they'll support him too when he come on their channel, and they won't speak the truth until it becomes an issue of whether or not he directly go at them. You know what I mean?
But
But
you
up
see,
until then though, they happy just going to be a part of the hotel, go along, get along gang, and
but you
just
see, the
listen to
good
all
thing
type of
is,
bullshit.
they know where I stand. So people can come in my chat and pretend all they want. I'm not looking for that kind of support. I'm here to put the information out and get people to think differently about this, because there are tons of people who really want to speak on these things, but somehow they don't know how to find the words or are afraid. And you
Yeah,
gotta
it take
the African panderers, there's
it
tons of
it
them
take
too.
it take a certain level of nuts though, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't be no coward because it's
No.
not gonna be popular at first. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
know. I
So
know. I mean,
you gotta be willing to go against the grain and stand on what you believe or what you know is the truth. And I think that's the difference. And it's almost like the same concept though. Like, I hate to say it though, but like the timid, docile African, you know what I'm saying, that allowed the colonizers to come in there and didn't speak until it was too late. You
right.
speaking when it's too late. You know, when you see the problem initially and you see what it may be, you wanna go and greet them and be happy. Hey, yes, Africa, yes, we love you. We happy people. No, so hey man, but yeah, man,
Have
big
you
up
have you
yourself
have
though,
you
man.
got have you gotten your invitation back to the Wakandan channel yet?
Man, they ain't gonna never send me no invitation back, man, because they know what I'm gonna say. They know, man. As soon as I hit that link, I ain't gonna, it ain't gonna be
So
nothing.
so you and I have been put in the Wakandan doghouse.
Yeah,
We we can go back.
we banned for life, man. They ain't letting us. They ain't letting me around no hotel spots, man. I'd have been banned for life around all hotel spots, man. And don't,
Bo, that's crazy.
yeah, man. Big up yourself though, man. Like I say, man, I support what you're doing, man. Keep your foot on them neck. Keep your foot on their necks. You can even tell the truth about what's the realities of what's going on over here. Because
Oh
with
yeah.
these hotels, they only want to they don't want to tell the whole story about what's going on over here. They want to
Yeah.
hide and pretend. The only thing they can say to sell a little hotel vision is white supremacy. Man, our problems go way beyond white supremacy in America. I would
Oh
say
yeah.
white supremacy isn't even in the top 10 of our problem or issues in America. You know what I'm saying? As it
Look,
relates to black people.
most black people's problem is other black people. Period.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah.
You can check the statics and statistics. Police brutality. I don't know no black man that wake up in the morning and worry about getting killed by the police. No.
No.
You know what I mean? It happens. It's a possibility, but that's not something that we worry about. How many stores you know in your neighborhood that you won't go to because you feel like, man, nigga might kill me. I go around there. I might get robbed.
Bro,
You
did
know
you
what I
see
mean?
the video? Did you see the video I made? I made several of them. I said, look, on Martin Luther King Street, don't be stopping at the gas station. Don't be hanging around too long. You see
Anywhere you
people
go.
standing on the streets, keep it pushing, okay?
And I don't even know what you're talking about, but any city across America you go, when you find Martin Luther King Street, you done found yourself in the middle of the ghetto. All across America, city to city, you know what I mean? And
Well,
that's sad,
why.
but it's the reality though.
Well, that's why I didn't even name a city. I just said Martin Luther King Street or Boulevard. It don't matter. It could be in South Dakota. Keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing if you ain't from around there, man. But yeah, man, like I say, big up yourself though, brother.
Thanks, Bo. Thanks for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Botep, one of the real ones on this, YouTube streets here, spreading the love as usual. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 2.5 hours. Thank you for coming in. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed it. Okay? African Millennial, for real, like, yeah, MLK Street in Ghana, you guys have one there too? I gotta talk about the Ghanaian gangsters. African React did a little bit about them with their pants sagging and stuff. I'll have to do one on that and bring in African Millennial, DMF, and Kwesi and see what you guys think about that, because now they have Ghanaian gangsters there, pulling their pants down, and you got MLK Street. I don't know if I want to go to Ghana now, but ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, and I'm glad all of you are having fun. Mimi, don't tell your man that you've been watching the Afridamus report, but I guess he would find out because you'll be laughing the whole time. So feel free to leave your comments. Let me know what you think. But at the end of the day, know that this is facts over feelings. The truth shall set you free. I'm not here to make you feel bad about yourself, but to lay out the facts. Imagine, right, if I was just coming, repeating the same thing, telling you guys what you want to hear, it's not gonna go well. You would just remain, in the ignorance that these hoteps want you in. But ask yourself the question: why would somebody who is rational telling you, oh, give up your American citizenship and move to Africa? In the meantime, people in Africa are trying to get to America. That doesn't make any kind of sense. Anyone that buys into that, you are a fool. Okay? They're telling you, oh, you got to move to Africa. What you should be telling these people is, hey, why don't you live by example? You do it first. When you do it, then I'll do it. It's like I saw some crazy white man who said he's a psychologist. This man literally, the video is out there, because he said he's smart, whatever, they did their studies. He believes that whiteness should be eradicated. He said, in fact, he's encouraging white people to commit suicide. And I'm watching the video. I'm like, buddy, you can go stand in front of the mirror and see that you're white. But instead of telling other white people to do this, maybe you should live by example, like just do it. Make sure you write a note and let other white people know why you did it. Maybe they would see that it's attractive or not. Maybe they'll follow suit. So the craziness is not only on the black side. We got a couple of crazy white people too who really think, they criticize whiteness and stuff. I'm like, you do realize you're white, right? You're criticizing yourself. Okay? The hoteps don't like you either. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like and share the video. You're watching the Afridamus Report, and I'll be back with another good one tomorrow. Enjoy.